But similarly, I appreciate what you're doing in creating these services aimed at keeping people safer and reducing like the possible damage from cyber harassment. And I'd love to know if you have any thoughts on other aspects of the culture as a whole that should or can be changed so that rampant abuse isn't so easily engaged with in social anonymity. I mean, we certainly know that there's plenty of social platforms that have figured out that they make more money if they just let some of the wildfires burn for a while, and things like that. So do you have any thoughts on sort of, this seems like this could be a problem that's changed the way that seatbelt regulations were changed or environmental protections were changed. It's this multi-decade of just picking apart, little things until like the wall collapses. Do you have any thoughts on this or?
Oh gosh, there's a bunch of different ideas come to me from this. I think the first is those sort of, what are the, is it just, would this go away if we all patch our shit? And I think we've raised the water level, the sort of like overall ecosystem safety level in so many ways, whether, we think of like stack canaries and all of these sort of technical counter address space layout randomization, all of these like very technical operating system level things. And yet we still have software bugs coming. And I think at that sort of ecosystem level, there are things like moving to memory safe languages that really are important for that long-term. There's a group at Berkeley called the Center for Long-Term Cybersecurity, which I just love as like a concept that people are thinking
long-term
about this. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And that's okay. So this is a very ADHD part of the conversation. I apologize, but I just had this moment last week when a couple of my like CISO friends, kids were graduating from university and they're like, little Bobby is looking for his first full-time security job. And I realized that we're actually just hitting that first, like second generation cybersecurity professionals. You think about people that are like sixth generation doctors. We're one generation in cybersecurity.
Yep.
So thinking about like, what does the next 50 years of this field look like is just like kind of awesome that there's like, we are early days. So memory safety, huge, important, like we have to go there because most of the bugs that, people are getting owned at the OS level from, they're all just like memory safety issues. It's a big lift to like rewrite our browsers, rewrite our operating systems in memory safe languages. But if I was getting into this field today, like as, just a sort of generic computer science student, I would be learning memory safe languages like Rust, because I think there's just like, there's almost an inevitability that we have to shift to that.
Yeah.
For again, that sort of like 30 to 50 year next steps. The other big like big picture thing is just passwords, the use of passwords, consumer accounts, that sort of like, what does trust look like when we have 400 accounts each?
Right.
Passkeys, I think, are a really important step in the right direction. Huge fan of like U2F and the YubiKey and all of that sort of like other ways of thinking about authentication and trust, even with consumer accounts. But I think there are scaling questions there too of like, how can the average like end user be expected to like understand or keep track of all of these things? And I have a bunch of ideas of where like what we do at Tall Poppy could go in terms of thinking about keeping individuals safe across all of these different account types. But it's really pretty like early days there. But I think that's like the big picture thing that I've been thinking about is on the end point, we have to solve memory safety. And on the like cloud, consumer account, work account, all of these things, like that identity question is so big, both within organizations and for consumers.
Okay. Well, two things. First of all, for the purpose of our listeners who are rank beginners, this guy here, could you explain memory? What was it? Memory retention, memory security,
memory safety.
Memory safety. Can you explain that concept to me? Because
So one of the like sort of origin story papers in computer security was from like 1,000 years ago. It was called Smashing the Stack for Fun and Profit. And there's a whole class of security bugs, and I'm trying to trying to come up with an explanation at like a high level that won't also piss off the people that get it at a really low level. So it's basically, there's all of these different attacks that involve manipulating the memory of a computer by like shoving garbage at it. And when you shove a bunch of garbage at it, it flips out, and you can predict the ways that it flips out and make it do things that give you control of the computer.
I see.
So that's like a very like high level summary of this class of attacks. Memory safe languages don't let you do that. Is the sort of TLDR. They have a variety of different ways that they do that, but fundamentally you eliminate a class of security attacks, security vulnerabilities, by using these memory safe languages. And there's a set of people who are like, oh, C++ is great though. You just have to like know how to write memory safe C++. And that's like saying, you know, you don't need seatbelts, you should just not get in car accidents.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So like when we talk about like adding seatbelts to our security ecosystem, when it comes to like what languages we use and how we build low-level systems, using memory safe languages, that's the seatbelt solution. That's like the system, or airbags. It's actually closer to airbags, because like you don't have to like manually click on an airbag, like it just works.
Yeah. Have you seen Work Bites, the new security awareness training series from Infosec? Our team produced this series with 3 E's in mind, making security awareness training entertaining, engaging, and educational. Just go to infosecinstitute.com/free to learn more about this hilarious office comedy. And hey, let us know what you think about it.